All right. Hi, guys.
Hi.
I've got Sam and Austin from Boxcarr Handmade Cheese here. So I just want a little introduction. Tell me about what you guys do.
You want me to
Definitely.
go?
Yeah, you go first and I'll fill in. How about that?
We're in North Carolina. That's my brother. I'm his sister. We make cheese, mainly kind of weirder Italian style cheeses. We have our own goats and where'd it go? And we buy cow's milk from a couple few other farms and mix it in. Uh, we've been doing this for,
Since 2015.
mhm.
So
And
just
I've
about 5 years.
Yeah, Austin and his wife bought the farm in 2009.
Yep.
Uh,
Started raising animals, trying to find a way to sustain,
Growing
piece of
vegetables, and we
property.
got a food truck. And
Yep.
Austin's a fancy chef, or was
Well,
a fancy chef. So we did,
a bunch of random things to build up our name to be able to make cheese in North Carolina. And the idea is Sam before was raising goats. So prior to making cheese, she was really into the goat side of things and still is. And I think it was a way of for us to basically kind of, start farming, but also sustain the farm. And that's where we went
yeah,
into
yeah.
the cheese making side of things.
Well, and then I've been making cheese and doing goats for a long time,
Way
like
prior than
since
that.
I was a baby, like
Yeah.
21 or something like that. So so that was my day job, and then I had all these goats for no reason. And I would like wait the tables at night or bartend, and then it was just we were all Austin even waited the brunch tables at my
Yeah, all over
restaurant.
the
It was
place.
just
So
kind of
basically looking for something to where we can almost sustain two families more long term, kind of getting away from the restaurants, the direct day to day in the restaurants cooking. And yeah, just something that we felt would be a little more long term sustainable. And yeah, and here we are
here we are
currently 5 years into it
Currently
with
still here.
craziness.
with some
But
COVID-19.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, tell me about what kind of cheeses you guys make, first off.
The one we make the most of up until like 6 weeks ago was the Ribiola. We
more
started,
Italian soft-ripened
yeah,
cheeses is our focus, and then we also make a good amount of wash-rind cheeses, more semi-soft cheeses.
kind of like
Perfect.
sister brothers of Taleggio
Very much so. Yeah.
ish with yogurt cultures.
One lightly smoked, one beer washed. Kind of differentiate them a little bit.
We literally make way too many cheeses, but we have a farmer's market.
Yeah.
So, so it makes sense for us to do that. But what we sell nationally mainly is the Ribiola.
The Rockets Robiola, Rosie's Robiola, Cotton Bell, Cottonseed, which is our mixed milk version of the Cotton Bell.
And those
The
are like a
Campo,
shimuding kind of thing.
yeah, and Campo and Listen.
Listen,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we have a bunch of some other aged ones as we evolve and can afford to stockpile some cheeses in the aged cooler. We've turned in or evolved into doing some mixed milk cheeses, the Red Bud. The Winsome's kind of on and off depending on the seasonality and the amount of time we have and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, we made a batch of Winsome just last week.
Yeah.
But it's different now because we have all this milk and
a lot of direct to consumer market right now. I mean,
Yeah.
that's majority of our business, which is complete opposite than what it was before.
Yeah. So do you want to tell me about what your business looked like before COVID? Like you guys were heavily distributed around the country, did farmers markets, not necessarily heavily distributed, but
in nice little beautiful regions of the world or the country, I should say. It's been pretty amazing. But so basically prior to COVID, we were pretty much, I'd say more or less about 80% through distribution, through distributors throughout the country. We had about 7 really amazing distributors, some more restaurant focused, some more retail focused, some a little of everything. So with everything happening, that was majority of where our cheese went. The other 20% we kind of self-distributed locally, and to other cheese shops throughout the country that we dealt with directly. But then the way our sales were split up was about 50% to restaurants, about 10% to the farmers markets, and then about 40% to retailers. So now, and that was prior.
yeah.
And so currently, right off the bat, we lost that 60% because of the farmers market. Our farmers market in the area was the first one to be shut down about a month and a half ago. So that was the 10%. The next, I think 3 days later, the restaurant shut down. So that was about 50%. And then just the uncertainty in the market, in the retail market through our distribution networks, kind of made up for about a 75% loss currently.
We've
At
had
first, it was about 85% right
Yeah.
off the bat. I mean, it
we've
went
had like
silent.
one pickup from a distributor
Yeah,
since,
yeah,
like one.
Yeah.
Which we're totally grateful for.
which were it's great. I mean,
But
it's crazy times, and I know,
usually there's distributors coming
And
throughout the
that's-
week, and
that's the way we designed it. I mean, we went in at a little bit of a lower price point, selling to distributors, with the idea of making more cheese, which we felt was more sustainable long term. So now we're going back to the kind of the opposite model, the model we almost started with when we first started growing vegetables and raising animals and stuff, which was farmers
CSA.
market, direct to consumer, CSA, on farm pickups, working with other CSAs, piggybacking off of other businesses, kind of doing the same thing, just finding central distribution points. And but right now it's currently about 40% direct to consumer. Retailers are really making up about the other 40%, which is pretty good. The other ones are
or we're just giving.
well, I'm not talking about the
Okay,
donating.
okay.
I'm talking about sales. I'm not talking about production. We'll get to production in a minute.
We'll get to production.
50% of our production is going to donated cheese right now. But that's a whole nother thing. But the sales side of things, it's really, I mean, I think I might have heard it earlier. I was listening as I was raking a go pen earlier. I was kind of listening to your conversation earlier, and our retailers have been amazing. Whole Foods has really done this local
Whole Foods
push.
has been
Nathan at the North Raleigh Whole Foods, blowing my mind on how much cheese he is selling. Like,
He
absolutely,
could sell, like,
it's crazy.
yeah.
I joke. He's
Thank
giving
you,
it out to all of his
Nathan.
employees and like
You
that,
ever
or just
see
eating
this?
it all. I don't know, but
Yeah, maybe he's just taking it home. And
so things like that are, it's helping, but still the sales are way down. It's putting a smile on our face and keeping us going. We are, like many businesses, depending on, on not necessarily the PPP loan, but, the economic disaster relief loan, as far as operating expenses and stuff, because we know that we will have a major loss this year, like most of us. We also made the choice, and we don't know how long it will last. Luckily, Orange County was amazing and gave us a small grant to be able to process some milk at cost for local food banks. The rest of it, we're fronting the bill right now, and we're hoping that it will work out to where we can get some other funding and stuff like that, just to keep the gears rolling and stuff. And but what I was trying to say is we opted to pick up a little bit more milk than what we would normally pick up at this time, just to keep our farmer going.
Cow's milk. We still have our goats.
But the goats are
right.
The goats are ours. So that's,
right. But that we can put into aged cheese.
Yeah.
We think.
And
then the cow's milk we want to keep.
Yeah, we want to keep him going, because we know maybe next week or in a month or a year from now, we do need cow's milk. And, without cow's milk, that's about 90% of our business.
And none of our family or cousins or anybody wants to milk cows.
Yeah,
no
and
one's
that's
interested in it.
Not at this time, and not for many moons. So.
Maybe never.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We hope we never have to. So.
But we have some really awesome farmers. One dude is really young and he's into it, and we want to try and him especially keep going because we see a future there.
And he has no other sources for his milk right now. His other cheese maker down in Charlotte, his mozzarella cheese maker, pretty much ceased production. I know he is making a little bit of product, but since he doesn't have any contracts, we were picking up about a third of his milk, and now we're picking up, about 80% of it. I know he is dumping a little bit or giving it to the mozzarella guy, but we're picking up as much as we can. So we doubled the amount of milk we're picking up from him to process it. And like I say, to keep the gears rolling, because it costs a lot to shut down and it costs a lot to start back up. So,
and one of our other milk producers has a co-op that they can sell to. Yeah. So like for the time being. And
they sell to another cheesemaker, which is amazing.
We're at the moment we're trying to put all our money into the one younger guy in Charlotte.
Beautiful Jersey cows.
Delicious.
His milk is pretty phenomenal, I have to say.
So how many employees do you guys have outside of you two?
Other than us, we have 9 employees.
They're not all full-time.
No, about between 20 and 30 hours a week.
That's what most people work. Like most everyone else has a bunch of babies
Yeah.
or works like at another farm, like vegetable farm, or has their own vegetable farm.
We're very, very lucky in a group of our
So
employees because they either, I mean, and this is something still, even with our milk suppliers, we've always been very hesitant to be the number one, source of their income. And same with our employees, because we never know what tomorrow would hold. And and breaking even up until obviously this, I mean, this year's going to be different, but up until this point, has always been hard to commit to full-time employees. I mean, I think from the heart and stuff, and just not knowing what tomorrow holds. So we've been very lucky with our employees.
I think the most
And
person that was like 30 hours, I think that's the most
yeah,
someone works.
yeah.
So you haven't had to furlough anybody or lay anybody off through this?
As of
We're
right
trying
now,
not
no.
to.
Okay.
But
I mean,
I think we're.
yeah.
I think as of right now, no. I mean, I really hope we don't. I think that we just, it's little by little. There's so many unknowns right now. We're working with a bunch of other amazing cheesemakers throughout the country. With one of our big distributors, hoping that this little, this program will help push some sales. We'll be making cheese at cost or a little below, but at the same time, I mean, it's, the idea is we have fixed expenses that we need to, we do need to make cheese. So it's one of those things where I think if this works out and we get a little more sales, then I think we'll be okay. And I would like to say things will start turning around. I know they're never going to. I think it's going to be a weird when it does come back. I mean, nobody really knows, so I don't know. But
anyways, I think we weren't super clear on what we're doing with most of the milk, though. We're
production wise,
we're making a sort of like a mozzarella style cheese. It's made with yogurt culture, and we're cryovacking it within a week, and we're giving it to food banks, and that's we're smoking it, and we're also not smoking it, but we're I put that sticker on upside down, didn't I?
Sorry.
My glasses for that.
Anyways,
but we're I mean, last week I think we made 6 batches out of our 7 batches we made into this cheese. Like if we don't have an order or anything like that, we're putting all of the Charlotte Young Dude's milk into this cheese, kind of just to keep things going. And we're pretty much funding it ourselves right now. It's pretty scary, but it does feel like really good to be making cheese for me. It does.
Well,
be making cheese for people that like have no food, and the food banks here are like totally not in good shape. And so, I mean, I think, what did we drop off last week? It was like 1,200 pounds of like awesome yogurt-y mozzarella cheese.
And it melts great. And the food banks we're using are like, people behind them are awesome. They're larger food banks. Some of them distribute to other food banks. But they're good people. They're stoked on the product that we're bringing in. We designed this for them. So it's not, we've donated some listen before,
and people are like, hell no.
I don't know if it even, I think it went through.
I don't know if everyone's had the listen, but it's,
we had a couple
like
batches.
And they were like, please don't bring us cheese anymore.
I think it went in the trash when we left, to be honest with you. But they are stoked on this. And it, like I said, it melts well. It goes great in lasagnas and stuff. And
it's like a yogurty mozzarella.
And in a perfect world, I don't think we have any investors watching, mom, dad, or anybody else out there. But I think we would love to just be able to give away cheese every day of our lives anyway. So I think it's a time where we can, do this and ask forgiveness later. I think we're all kind of in this crazy thing where we're all kind of screwed. I think some of us more so than others. And I think we will, I think we do what we can do now. And I'm hoping that there will be some change in the next couple of weeks, just to have some direction, because, it isn't this isn't a long-term thing. We can't sustain doing this long-term, and we know that, but we know short-term for the next month, we're going to keep pushing forward. We're very lucky that we don't expect people, or our customers usually, I shouldn't say this either, but to pay for up to 60 days. Some pay at 30 days, but so we've been operating off of our accounts receivable, which, we've, unlike restaurants where you don't have customers coming in, you have no cash flow. I mean, we are operating, our customers have been great, and they have paid us, majority of them. So that's why we are still doing this. And the idea is hopefully we see some change in the next couple of weeks, and we can make the next move from there. I mean, I think that's it, little by little at this point. And
I think we will find out about the next round of loans at some point. And I think that'll give us some, like, what is going on, because right now we're keeping going, putting our money into this and hoping that we do get one of those SBA loans,
because we know we need money. We know we need a loan to operate. I mean, and we're fine. We've I joke about it, but we've been very lucky that we haven't made money up to this point. So we don't know what it's like to do that. We've paid our bills, which we've been very fortunate of. So for us, it's like borrow some more money. You know, it's not for that refrigerated van. And if anybody has one, let us know. We'd be happy to work it out, trade some cheese or something like that. Or whatever else we have.
Trade some cheese for a refrigerated van.
I don't know. Maybe there's somebody that doesn't need it right now. But so instead of borrowing money for a refrigerated van, we know that we will need to borrow money to operate this year. But like I said, I think we're all kind of in the same position or the same boat. So we will, figure it out.
So you said, obviously farmers markets are closed and restaurants are closing, but are you guys doing more direct to consumer avenues? And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Definitely. So we're doing on-farm pickups. So we switched over pretty much most of our farmers markets customers to the on-farm pickups. So we recouped that 10% as of right now, which is really nice. So that was kind of within about a week or two, we kind of started bringing that back, which upped our sales. But now we're actually, as of today, I know it might still be under construction. Danny was working late last night on it, but our e-commerce, so we'll be shipping some cheese throughout the country. There's a lot of unknowns about that. Something that we would prefer not to do to everybody, but at the same time, we've got to try it. We're going to figure out all the craziness involved with it and the little kinks and stuff like that, and just hope that the cheese makes it to everybody. And
I think that's kind of been the thing the last 2 weeks. We've sent out
some
like
trial
tests
batches and
through FedEx and the 2-day shipping. Oh, sorry, not through FedEx. We love you. The 2-day shipping is not 2-day shipping right now. Everyone is like ordering all their stuff online. Like, so 2-day shipping is kind of like 5 to 6 day shipping. So we kind of.
But to some customers, it makes it in 2 days. So we're hoping that we're hoping for the best.
It's tricky, but I would hate to send out 50 packages next week. Like if we got 50 people to order packages and then half of them get there, that would be kind of heartbreaking. And then
I think that's an important thing to note, though, because a lot of people think like, oh, well, why doesn't this cheesemaker just start delivering to, personal people, to consumer, like direct to consumers? But when something as perishable as cheese is going out and you want it across the country, and it's going to be 5 days out, you don't know what that's going to look like. And that reflects on your brand, your cheese, and that's not something you want. So I think that that's an important thing for people to understand, the difficulties around doing direct to consumer and e-commerce right now.
Yep. No, I think so too.
I think in a normal world, maybe those packages would get there in 2 days, but like right now they're not. I don't usually answer the phone at the cheese house, but there was one day I thought it was the chef. And so I answered the phone and it was this man. Yeah. He was so upset. I was on the phone with him for 40 minutes, like trying to explain to him FedEx and the world right now. And we're afraid to open up for shipping, but we're going to do it next week. Yeah. We're going to try. Hopefully we don't get that. Hopefully we don't get that many orders.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
if the cheese doesn't get there, we could reship it, but it's just,
it's worth a try right now. We have 50% of our production. And like I said, I love donating cheese, but it's worth a try right now just to see how it goes. And the other thing too is, packaging, we can't do it in our normal insulated containers. Obviously, one, we want to cut down on styrofoam, but two, they're too bulky for the,
like home shipping,
for the flat rate shipping boxes. So you get into the different liners. So I feel like there's a whole realm of things, like you were saying, that make it really difficult and, and cost effective too. So I think that's it. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think those are all good to note, because a lot of people just think it's so easy to just flip your business model on a dime and just completely change things. And that's not really how these things go. Let's talk about affinage. So you guys aren't really making a whole lot of soft cheeses right now, I assume?
Yeah,
We're making like a batch of soft cheese.
Like 10 to 20%, but yeah, pretty small amount.
So a batch for me is 210 gallons. And so we'll make a batch of soft cheese and we'll split it up between the Robiola and the combo. So we'll split it up between a few different types of soft cheese. So instead of like having racks to the ceiling all in the room, I'm having little short stacks and maybe 4 or 5 racks.
And the reason really to do that is to keep, so we do, when we do get orders in from distributors and customers, we have cheese that's not super ripe. We're kind of trying to keep a low inventory of, and we're very lucky that we can sell the ripe stuff through the market / our farm pickup and stuff like that.
So we have cheese in the rooms. It's just a lot less cheese, which, you know, anybody that knows about cheese knows that you have to adjust things.
And that was majority of our production. I mean, 50% of our cheeses were the soft cheeses throughout the week. The rest were split between like bread buds, the Lissams, and the Campos and stuff. The wash grinds
were to the ceiling.
So
to the ceiling.
And so we have a shelf life on the wash grinds. So we definitely, you know, we're being very conservative on how much we make. We're trying to keep a little bit going just so we have, you know, nice young stuff for our distributors and stuff. But really, as far as production goes, we're almost maxed out on aged as far as space for our aged cheeses, like the red buds, the nimbles. So we're kind of, you know, otherwise we would be putting more towards aged cheese. You know, somebody asked us, you know, they're like, well, I don't like, you know, as a banker, I was like, I don't like seeing you donating all this cheese. Of course, some people aren't into donating product for some reason, but that's a whole nother conversation. But they were like, you should be selling all this cheese. I'm like, well, we can't sell all the cheese. We would sell it if we could. I mean, as much as we love, you know, anyways, it was like, and we ran out of aging space too. There's nothing you can do.
How do we get that to the people? I mean, people are still eating, but they're not eating in restaurants, and they're cooking at home. And how are they getting their food? And I mean, it's just.
And we don't have a big aging cave either. I mean, we have the 3 aging, you know, the coolers that we keep our the bee linens in, and the bloomy rinds and stuff. And then we have a 3rd cooler that we kind of converted into a makeshift aging cooler, and it's great, but still it's at its capacity.
Yeah, it totally is. You can't. Like, you have to pull everything out to do anything in there. There's not a spot to stand.
So with that said.
I mean, we need racks, we need bases, we need another aging cooler to keep putting up cheese for next year. So we're kind of at a point where we need to, I mean, we've been home tight for 6 weeks, but I mean, it's like, something's got to change.
And start selling it.
Yeah, something's got to change.
Anybody?
So will this affect like what you make in the future? Like has this mozzarella that you guys have been making, has it become something that you're like, okay, I'm going to continue making that after this kind of goes on? Or
I think our plan was, and it's really cool that, I mean, I think things like this make you think of other ways of incorporating things into your business model later on. Our biggest thing is cutting down on our, you know, our overall fixed expenses, like our production costs. And how do you do that with making soft, you know, being, I mean, I think we're very heavily into the soft ripened cheeses, and I think that's what people enjoy of ours and stuff. And we know that we cannot max our facility out and just make soft ripened cheeses for many reasons. So we feel that this cheese will actually be incorporated into our line, to where our idea is to eventually fund it by selling it. So for every pound of it sold, right now we're just donating it, but the idea is eventually for every pound sold, we want to have one flat fee on it at a lower price point, basically. But for every 3 pounds of the cheese sold, and it says it here on this cute little sticker and stuff, but it's hard to see. Oh, sorry. But it basically kind of sums up what we're doing. Basically, we're going to be, for every 3 pounds sold, we're going to donate 1 pound. That's the end, and that would basically fund the cheese, but also cut down on our production costs. So it's kind of I think it's.
Yeah, and if we can take all of this young Charlotte dude's milk, going forward, we would like to, and this would kind of make it so that we can, you know, fully take all of his milk, and
it will be at a lower price point, because it's quick, it's easy, the cultures aren't as expensive, and
and I feel good about making like a nonprofit cheese. So we were talking about how to do the business and kind of have, maybe we organize a nonprofit on the side, and this is the cheese that we make and sell through that, or donate or whatever, not sell. But
I mean, that's
yeah,
awesome. I think that that's such a great thing to be able to do. And I know that it's not necessarily feasible for you guys to do it because you're not making any money off of it right now. But the fact that you're able to just make cheese and still give it to people who need it is huge. And I think that's going to reflect well on your business in the future.
Yeah. No, I think that's the plan. It feels good in here, but then also in the big picture, I think that it's, and maybe I don't know if we can. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole.
Well, when you're, I will just say, as a cheesemaker who works like over the vat all the time for the last, I don't even know how many years, like it hurts your body, like it hurts, and you're not always like totally like zenning out and loving your job. But it's like when I'm scooping this cheese, when I'm making this cheese, when I'm tired or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this is for someone's going to get this in a very different way than the people get our cheeses now. Like, it's just, I don't feel sorry for myself like I do physically on a day-to-day. I mean, that's horrible to say, but like, I think if there's any cheesemakers that have been doing it for a long time, like I have, it hurts. But it doesn't hurt as much when you're giving it to food banks for some reason.
Absolutely. Are there any other projects that you guys have been working on in this time where you have the ability? I mean, I don't know if you have the ability, probably not, but.
We made some feta, which we weren't ever going to do again, but we made some feta, so we did that.
Got that going for us. What else? No, I think we've been making just as much cheese, so I think that's really kept us busy. We've also have the goats milking full time this year for the first time, which we will officially start milking them all. We're kidding. We're very late in the season, which we did for a reason.
We go until Christmas. So I don't know how that works out this year, but usually people want that soft cheese at Christmas.
Yeah, so we try and push it a little bit later and breed a little bit later and have the babies earlier or later. But so that's a whole nother aspect of what we're doing right now that I think was different than last year. Still with the same amount of people and everything. So I think that will add enough right now. So streamlining that, figuring that out, convincing the wildlings, the 1.5-year-old goats that it's okay to go up on a stanchion will be exciting. So all that fun stuff I think will add enough. But there's always things breaking, and we added on a new bulk tank room so we can store a bunch more milk, and we have another bathroom, a new dish room and stuff. So we did a lot of last year was about kind of building and getting our infrastructure in place for a big successful 2020. So
it's almost like a different cheese room now. I mean, we got a second pasteurizer.
Oh yeah, you'll be surprised.
I've been there,
I'll walk you through with the video. So,
but we got a second pasteurizer. I got a moisture testing machine.
Yeah.
You so fancy.
We're waiting on the butterfat tester.
Yeah, we want that.
Maybe next year.
Well, nobody. I was going to say nobody could have predicted this happening, except lots of scientists did, and whatever. That's neither here nor there. So let's see. I feel like we've answered a bunch of the questions that I had lined up for you guys. One that I got that I feel like is worthy of asking, like, what recommendations would you have for people who are just kind of getting started with their cheese business now? Is there anything that you feel like this experience has made it clear that should be kind of added into a business plan, or like something that these companies should kind of think about for the future?
Yeah, I mean, things that keep me, or that I should say, if I do sleep, and sleep good at night, it's because of, I feel, one, our employees we've never had anybody move across the country to work for us as much as I would love it, and we would have. I feel like
hired like local people that are badasses,
but knowing that they don't need us tomorrow. I mean, they need us, but at the same time, and we're going to be there for them to the last second. But knowing that they would be okay taking a week off or something like that. Also, our milk supply, just having other sources for milk. Yeah, we worked with 3 different farmers. Unfortunately, we're really working with one mainly now, and a smaller amount from another one. But still, it's having farmers that have sources. other sources for their milk is huge because it's, it's scary.
Yeah, I guess spreading things out.
Yeah.
Spread out the hours if you could find people that are happy to work 20, 30 hours a week.
And same with your sales, your market too. Spreading that out a little bit. I mean, we kind of went into it like, okay, 90% distribution, which is great. And, majority of the time, I think for our model and stuff like that. But things happen and being able to adapt and change.
Quickly,
and
So when we were first starting it, we were all distribution, and we would have these, 10 cases the end of every batch or something that we couldn't sell to a distributor because they want the cheese as soon as you wrap it. I mean, in our case, because our cheese is soft. So we'd have 10 beautiful cases of cheese that I'd be like bringing to my yoga teacher for free and handing out after class. They're like just giving the pigs beautiful 10 cases of beautiful Robiola.
So it's like, what do you do with this cheese? Like, you need to figure something out.
Yeah, so that's when we started thinking, we need to go to a farmer's market. And so we do the farmer's market, and that takes care of the 10 extra cases of cheese, because throwing away that much, that's 60 pieces of Robiola every batch or something like that. So we kind of spread out the markets through the restaurants, through the
because the way our market was set up originally is, on week 2 we sell it to the distributors. Within the next month or so we sell it to the local retailers, and then after that it goes to the farmers market. So I guess having different tiers of different tiers for your product to go throughout its lifespan is pretty big, especially if you do have a shelf, the shelf life on your product, like some of our soft-ripened. So I think that was, they all of our cheeses do.
Cheeses have it.
But I would say that would be pretty big. Just being diverse in everything you do, but still, or knowing that you might have to be at some point on the, within a couple of days' notice, and being flexible. I've heard the word nimble so much lately, which is the name of our cheese, which is great. We get plenty of it, so if anybody needs any. But I have heard that word so much used, and I like it every time. But being flexible is big, I think, just in general in life, and especially in a business like this where things are always changing and cheese is unpredictable. Coming from a restaurant world, I'm like, you follow the recipe, you add the salt, everything's good, it should taste the same. And no, cheese is not like that. And I learned pretty quickly that, things are live and things are moving and aging and doing their own thing. So,
and you change one thing and there's like 5,000 reactions in your make. In your make, not your business.
And that's just the make. Well, then it affects the business, and that's anyway.
It's all circular, right?
It is.
So not only do you guys have this cheese business, but both of you are also parents too. So you guys having to navigate that whole landscape of homeschooling and
we
figuring
actually
that out, or
the choice to ship them all off actually early on. No, yes, we have a pretty intense homeschooling situation set
Luckily,
up.
we both have partners that are willing to do some homeschooling,
which are full time. They are full time doing other things as well.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a juggle. It's a juggle. Right now, I have 2 awesome cousins staying with me. They moved here from Asheville, and they haven't found jobs yet or a house to live in, which is lucky. So they're helping me out with Rosie a couple hours a day. And I mean, we're always,
my mom somewhere
luckily
around
we
here
have
sometimes,
a big
and
family with lots of cousins that help us out in so many ways.
I just like for people to understand the full breadth of what you guys are doing, because it's a lot. And even before this, I know that Austin never slept, so I'm sure it's only gotten worse. So
I always say it keeps getting better, little by little. But
hopefully the hallucinations are just getting better.
I don't know. But no, we're very, very lucky that our kids are out here on beautiful pieces of property, and we do have a good support network, here family wise and friends and coworkers. I mean, we made the choice early on to keep making cheese, so with our coworkers we kind of formed this pod of sorts, and kind of said, okay, everybody, like, this is what we're gonna do, and everybody was like, cool, this is what we're gonna do.
Committed to like be with each other, but not out in the world.
I mean, trying to keep it as as best we can.
So
within
yeah,
the
we
current
have.
time,
So we still have the support of
yeah.
our staff and coworkers, which is awesome. Yeah.
And our kids are old enough to where they can kind of almost run around by themselves a little bit, which is pretty cool. I have a 9-year-old. Sam has a 5-year-old. How old is he? 5. Hazel just turned 5 yesterday, and then I have another 2-year-old. So yeah, they're almost self-sustainable, which is great. When they start working, then we'll be golden. Vacations for everyone. But it is a crazy time, but I think at the same time, I mean,
we do have a lot of support, which is amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, I've got one kind of big question for you guys. Just like, what can mongers, shop owners, distro, like what can people do to really help you guys out and sell your cheese? And what's really the best way to help you guys right now?
God, I don't know.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, I always say, and it's hard because we are so busy sometimes, but if anybody ever wants to just have a conversation, reaching out to us is good if they have any questions about the product. We're always willing at this time, just to offer promos in any way, shape, or form. Anything we can do to help out, just to keep the gears moving. I mean, we know that it's a time where it's not about, I don't know, but it's not about making money, unfortunately. I think we've gotten past that this year. So it's about basically just keeping everything moving and keeping cheese out there for people. So when things do clear up, one, if they remember us, great. Two, they can enjoy a nice piece of cheese if they're into our product. And yeah, I mean, I think that's just.
I mean, maybe I would say get the word out.
Yeah.
That's
let them know how hard these farmers are working
right now,
and stuff.
And not to say that there's not a lot of hope, but we're kind of we're holding tight.
Yeah.
So
we're not going anywhere.
If you
I mean, I like
say
to
we're
think
cool
that. So.
to your customers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because Danny just posted on the Facebook that homeschooling and kidding 100 goats right now. Yeah, that's a lot. And she also mentioned that you guys have a donation spot on your site.
We do. Yep. So the donation site that's great because that will help us basically fund this cheese. I mean, 100% of it will go towards this cheese right now. I mean, that's the short-term plan. But the idea is, eventually when we start selling it, we'll put our own funds back in. I mean, right now we are,
but Danny did put a thing on the website where you can click on there and you could donate.
Yeah. Or just buy
$15
cheese.
Yeah. Or
what if people want to buy that cheese so they can tell that stories in their shops? Is that something?
Yes.
Okay. That is. Yep. They can definitely contact us. Kurt at Boxcarr Handmade Cheese. Talk to Paul Genke. He's always good to communicate. He'll be right on it and get back to you. He likes to have phone conversations. So, but no, this cheese, that's the idea, is we do want to sell this cheese eventually on a larger scale. And right now.
Totally sell it right now. Smoked, unsmoked, yogurt cultures from adjunct cultures to support those yogurt
Melts
cultures.
great.
Very healthy cheese.
Great for restaurants that are doing family meal style stuff. Pizzas,
Austin's going to make some mozzarella sticks.
Yes,
and stock our
we got approved.
Pickup freezer.
We got approved to manufacture mozzarella sticks. Not that it's going to happen, but
we're not shipping those.
No.
It would be picked up at the farm only.
Yeah.
But
for one day.
One day. Yeah. But yeah, I think this cheese can be bought right now. We have the big, that one, I took a moisture just out of the corner of that one. But so it's like this 5-pound wheel, but we're cutting it into quarters. Yeah. So if you ordered cheese for shipping, you would get a 1.5.
Wholesalers will get this. If you order it off our website for shipping, I think they're like quarter or half-pound pieces.
No.
So no.
No.
On our website.
Pound and a half, I
our
think.
Our farmer cheese, what we're selling. No, I know, but we're.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
If you order it off our website, they're probably half-pound pieces. So unless you want a whole block.
Well, there's some buyers out there, so you might get some. And I think that story is a good story and an easy one to tell consumers too, that it's an easy to eat cheese and also helps people in that area, and that you can sustain holding those farms open, and so they're not having to dump milk. So I actually thought about something that you had mentioned that I kind of want to jump back to. about the processing of milk from your farmer. So you guys got licensed to be able to do some processing. Can you tell me a little bit about that process?
As far as the like the prepared food style stuff,
I
or
mean, I thought you said that fluid milk. Are you able to?
oh no, we are not certified.
That'd be
No, yeah, I mean
That would help.
we are set up to where we could, but we don't have a bottler and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I mean, we pull milk for employees and stuff like that, but
It's pasteurized. I think it's fine.
oh yeah, no, it's all fine. But the idea would be as if things were to, you know, keep evolving and stuff like that. I mean, it would be how do we diversify? How do we, you know, expand our product line? And easy, quick ways would be fluid milk,
And if the
yogurt,
world never goes
things
back
like
to
that.
normal,
Yeah.
we would
But-
bottle milk.
I just wanted to ask about that because I thought I heard that. So that's
Yeah, I think the price point on it right now, like to just as current, like to get started on that with the unknowns right now, I think it's more. But yeah, I think it's, and if the world keeps going a certain way, then yes, we will be bottling milk for all of our neighbors.
Yogurt. We'll make
And yogurt too, yeah.
Sour
But
cream.
it requires a grade A certification.
Yeah.
Where the creamery is grade B. For, you know, but we are set up to become grade A very easily, just within our current facility and stuff.
but I think that that's a good thing also, that consumers don't understand why, like, I've just seen it a lot on social media of people not understanding why a farmer would dump milk when they go to the grocery store and the milk shelves are empty.
Yeah.
So they don't understand they don't understand the food systems. So just talking about that, I think, is a huge thing too, just to get people to understand that not everybody can, a processing plant requires a lot
Yeah.
to have.
Oh, yeah.
And
So-
honestly, right now, if we were like, hey, NCDA, we want to process milk, I mean, the time it would take
Yeah.
to get them out here and to get our facility in that kind of shape.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know, a farm could go out of business in that amount of time.
Yeah.
A milk farm.
And and on the larger side of it, like you were saying too, I mean, there is to get from the farm to the processing plant and then to the store. I mean, I forget what the number is, but in North Carolina, I think we're producing a small percentage of what we're actually consuming. So it is coming from further places away. And so there is that whole distribution, which we experienced right off the bat. The distribution, I mean, chain just gets a little messed up. It wasn't completely broken by any means, but there's little lags and things. And I think that was that consumer side on that. There's no milk on the shelf, but yet they see, these trucks
throwing
dumping
away
milk.
milk.
They're
It
like,
makes
this is
no
crazy.
sense.
Like,
Yeah.
they should be giving it to us for free.
But
So,
yeah, like we make
but-
the product, but getting it to the actual end consumer is kind of tricky.
Takes
And
a
that's
lot
what
of
we're sort of trying to figure out
Yeah.
now. I
we
listen
work
to so
in the
many
market.
podcasts
So.
about it, but yeah, it's a mess.
It
It'll
is.
be fine. We're fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
We'll all be fine. We'll all be fine.
Well, there's amazing people in the cheese world.
Yeah,
And
thank
like I
you.
said, we're very lucky to have a wonderful wife. Her husband's awesome, great kids, like good friends that are supporting us. Our friends that do have jobs, I mean, they're just, you know, absolutely amazing, buying cheese for other people and stuff.
Oh, we didn't say though. Also, we have boxes
Mm-hmm.
that
Oh,
we
yeah,
give
the relief
out
boxes.
on the farm pickup. Just because we come from a restaurant background and
Yeah.
that was the first thing to close, we were like,
We started that like a month and a half ago.
yeah, like all of the people that we know and our friends that immediately had no income because restaurants closed. So
And unemployment was, you know, obviously I think they're just starting to get unemployment now. So there was a point where they were working off their tips and stuff. And so we offered a relief box, which was basically boxes that we do for the employees and stuff. And I think we've given over like
And
150 of them so far.
yeah,
That's amazing.
our website and they
Yeah.
pick them up at the farm and they're pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to pack 6 pounds of cheese if I
Yeah.
can in those relief boxes for people and they could order them every week and they're free. They just check out on our website like you would if you were gonna buy a piece of cheese and it's just a zero balance and you put your information in there and you pick it up on the farm and
So
so we
if anybody's local, they're welcome to go on there and sign up for it. So
yeah,
you just have to
every
pick it up
week.
every week.
Every week,
Sun-
do it. Yeah, you
Saturday
have to pick
and
it up
Tuesday
though.
pickups.
Not everyone
Yeah,
picks
not
it
everybody.
up, which is weird.
Very few. I mean, small percentage. No names. But
Well, I just want to appreciate you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules to chat. And also, you know, you guys are really, I know this isn't an easy time, but I just really appreciate that you guys are thinking above and beyond yourselves and thinking about your community, because that's really what is going to be the most effective way of getting through this. So is there anything in particular that you want to say before we end this, or?
Thanks, Shanae.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And any questions?
Good to see your beautiful face for an
We're
hour.
good at answering questions. I am, so yeah, always happy to do that.
Yeah, he's good at it.